Well, that was a cool direct. I'm glad the games look like games now. But anyway, I really wanted to look into the 4 new Pokemon that were revealed today. Surface level stuff. So what do we have? Hisui and Braviary, Growlithe, and 2 new evolutions, Basculegion and Weirdeer. Nice. But to dive into them may take a bit more time, so for now I want to ask the question, why is the region called Hisui? I thought it was Sinnoh. What gives? Well, I'll tell you. Pokemon Legends Arceus takes place in the Sinnoh region before it had the name Sinnoh. You see, Sinnoh is based on the real-world Hokkaido, which previously went by the name Ezo around the same time period that this game seems to be based. And it had a different name before then, too, which was this. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that though. It's where one would find the Ainu people, those indigenous to the land, caught between a rock and a hard place as Japan wanted to take the land over before Russia got their hands on it, and in the process, many atrocities were committed. But for more information on the historical side of things, I recommend checking out our last video on Legends Arceus, as well as Kaihatsu's channel and Twitter just as a whole. He's been working on a deep dive analysis of this game, as it just happens to be exactly the kind of thing he loves looking into. Now then, why Hisui? Well, because the name Hisui is incredibly fitting. Japanese has a lot of homonyms in its language. Homonyms as in words that are the same but have different meanings. For example, duck and duck. They're the same word, but they mean completely different things. Japanese has a lot of them. So depending on how you write Hisui out, it can mean Jade, or just the shade of green that Jade is, and clearly this land is very green, being mostly unsettled. But breaking it down, Sui can mean green, and Hit means kingfisher, this bird, which lives all over the place, but happens to use Hokkaido as a breeding ground. Though these words can also mean auspicious sun, which would be a pretty good descriptor of Arceus, being all-important and prosperous, and the source of everything. It also relates to Cyrus, who symbolically pulls from the sun as well, being the center of Team Galactic. After all, the other important team members are named after the planets, and also the name Cyrus just means sun in Greek, so there's that. And then here we have Cyrene, the leader of Galaxy Team's Survey Corps. How interesting. Is it possible she played a role in giving the Hisui region its name? This is the same time period that it became known as Hokkaido in the real world. Anyway, Hisui can also mean fly in the sky and halcyon. Halcyon is an interesting word. It's used to relate to a time period of the past that was idyllically happy and peaceful, which I suppose may be how the Pokemon world's timeline of events sees this time period. But also, Japan does tend to glorify this time period, but in reality it was kinda dark. The best way I could relate it to most of you watching is that it's very similar to how Americans glorify our founding days. Like, yeah, we fought the British and freedom was paramount and we did all these amazing things. Let's just sweep the racism and genocide under the rug. It was the same deal. Actually the same deal. Lots of racism and genocide of the natives. It's fun how those things go together. But now, just to tie everything sort of together, Halcyon is also the name for the genus of birds that kingfishers belong to, and the reason the Japanese word for kingfisher and the color jade are the same is because these kingfisher feathers are the same iridescent color as jade. And to top all that off, Japanese kingfishers are said to bring happiness at a time of great sorrow or distress. That's what they symbolize. And that is certainly a fitting descriptor of this time period, a time of great sorrow or distress, but all time periods you can still find happiness in. And so there, we went full circle. It's all coming together. But there is more. Like I said, Japanese is full of homonyms, words that sound the same but have different meanings. So another one, Sui itself can mean water, especially in the sense of the Japanese system of the 5 elements, representing the fluid, flowing, and formless things of the world. Space, essentially. It's the reason Palkia is water type. Sui itself can also mean smart, understanding, or sympathetic, which does make me think of the Pokemon of knowledge, willpower, and emotion a bit, and this is the region we find them in. So there's lots of little reasons why Hisui is the perfect name, but I really want to get into the Jade meaning. Jade is very important to Japan. To this day, it is their national stone. It's a symbol of wealth and power, of course, because it's a precious stone, and this part of its symbolism can be even more auspicious, symbolizing rightful rulers and high kings and true emperors. Surely fitting of Arceus. But if we look to the virtues of Jade across East Asia, we get some very perfectly fitting symbols and beliefs. Jade is the gem supreme, and many consider it the protector of all generations, living and dead. That alone makes it perfect. As we're seeing in this game, there are many characters who are clearly the ancestors of characters in Diamond and Pearl, including the protagonists, Cyrus and Rowan. Similarly, Jade symbolizes long life and even immortality. It is said to be the stone of the gods, as it has innate, otherworldly, and heavenly qualities. Gods and the heavens? Time, space? The creation trio? Arceus? Gods and the heavens. And have you heard of the Jade Emperor in Chinese mythology? He's also known as the Heavenly Grandfather, and he is one of the representations of the first god, as well as the ruler of heaven. Again, same as Arceus. Jade also comes in quite a few colors. While green is the most common and valuable, it can also be found in purple, yellow, red, and white. White is notable both because it's the color of Arceus and because white jade is also known as pure jade, and surely Arceus would be a pure being. Then, in Japan specifically, you'll often find jade being used as magatama, beads that symbolize the soul or even spiritual power as a whole. Ever since the Yomon period, or very early Japan, we're talking 13,000 to 300 BC, jade was used in prayer to better communicate with the gods, as it has that innate otherworldly heavenly connection. And then the Japanese sun goddess Amaterasu has hundreds of them in a necklace, and she will bite up successive parts of them to create other gods. Meaning, yes, jade is a god-making material. It is what gods are made of. What does Arceus do? Make other gods, or the heavenly legendary Pokémon. And Hisui? Again, while it means jade, it can also mean sun. Amaterasu, the sun goddess, the maker of many other gods. It all comes together because of course it does. And maybe there is more to all of this, but all in all, I freaking love this. Hisui is an excellent name for this region. After all, it's where Spear Pillar is, and according to myth, Spear Pillar is the point where Arceus begun the creation of everything. And that's just cool. Now stay tuned, we're also rushing out a video about those 4 new Pokémon. And tomorrow we're releasing a video that will explain all of the warlords in Pokémon Conquest. And in case you missed it, yesterday we went over all of the monsters in the game, My Monster Rancher. Their names, specifically. Most of them suck, but in case you missed that, the link is here. Thanks so much for watching. Never stop using your noggin.